morning. Namaste to each of you. Thank you for joining me this morning to honor your mind and your body and your spirit. Let's find a nice, comfortable seated position where we can sit, have the spine and back of our neck be nice and long and tall, opening up our chest and opening up our diaphragm and opening up our heart. Gently close your eyes and soften your thoughts. Soften your eyes. Soften your shoulders. Soften your heart. Observe your breath as it is, soft and gentle, breathing life into you with each inhale, and relaxation with each exhale. Feel the grace of being present, returning to that awareness again and again. You may open your eyes now. For this morning's intention, you may think of a positive word or phrase to have with you on your mat and perhaps carry with you throughout the day. This morning's intention I'd like to talk about is Happy Lunar New Year. So Lunar New Year begins each year on the second new moon after the winter solstice. This year, in honor of the Lunar New Year, which includes Chinese New Year, there's a lot of other countries that celebrate it. But in particular, let's focus on the Chinese New Year and the Chinese philosophy of Taoist, which is called Taoist. That philosophy is yin yang. Yin yang is the study of polarities and dualism. And I actually have the symbol here. Examples of the dualism, I should put this up, are night, day, hot, cold, inside, outside. And in this symbol, it's black, white. These are opposite forces, but are also complementary, interconnected, and interdependent. The yin-yang symbol represents balance and harmony. It's all equal. Therefore, all of this, it is equaled in all of that. So keeping your balance while experiencing the polarities of life is an intention supported by yoga and Ayurveda. So in yoga, you'll see in the asanas, the poses, you'll see a lot of yin-yang going on, and I'll point those out as we go along today. And Ayurveda, the sister science of yoga, is all about balance. I mean, that's, if you could sum Ayurveda up in one word, it's balance. So for this morning's pranayama, I would like to have us do the Vritti. It's equal length breathing. So breathing is an example of yin-yang, inhaling and exhaling. And Vritti creates balance in our breathing by inhaling and exhaling to a specific count. and we'll start with 4, and then I'm going to drop off, and you can increase that number to whatever is comfortable for you or decrease it. So let's inhale, and we're going to use the Dirja breath, which is starts from our stomach, flows up to our rib cage, flows up to our chest, and then flows away from our chest, away from our rib cage, and away from our tummy. So it's a full, complete breath. So let's count and inhale on 1, 2, 3, 4. Exhale, 1, 2, 3, 4. Inhale, 1, 2, 3, 4. Exhale, 1, 2, 3, 4. Inhale, 1, 2, 3, 4. Exhale, 1, 2, 3, 4. Inhale, 1, 2, 3, 4. Exhale, 1, 2, 3, 4. And I'm going to drop off, and you can continue on that equal length using your own count. You can return to your own breath. That's the breathing technique, the pranayama that I use at night when I'm trying to get to sleep. So it was funny doing it right now. I'm like, I'm getting a little sleepy. I'm actually conditioned now to so that it actually works. So for our meditation this morning, there is a yin yang mudra, I believe. When I Googled yin yang mudras, a bunch of different ones came up. And one of them that was kind of fun, and especially this lunar year is the year of the dragon. If you make it, it almost kind of looks like a dragon. So if you bring your fingers together and then you go like that, it doesn't explain what the benefits are, but it just says it's yin yang. And I saw it like this, and I also saw it with the thumbs side by side, but it just made me smile because it looks kind of like the dragon. But this morning we're going to use the Anjali mudra, which is joining the hands expresses the union of any type of polarity or duality. So left, right. So we'll do that. We'll just hold that at heart center and take a few moments to have a nice, gentle meditation. And I will meet you on the mat. Release your hands. And we'll start our asana practice. And as I mentioned, there's a lot of yin yang in yoga. And oftentimes you think of yoga in warming the body, and that's yang yoga. Examples of this, a good example of this is an Ashtanga practice. Yin yoga is more cooling, less active, and there's the yin yoga. There's also restorative yoga. So I was reading an article this week about having kind of acknowledging where you are in a point in time and adjusting your yoga accordingly to balance yourself off. The article is about this person who had a very hectic work schedule and also was an avid runner, so did a lot of physical activity and started to do an Ashtanga, because I guess being kind of a type A personality, he thought Ashtanga, well, I'll love that. And it just was too much. I mean, it was just pushing the yang bar away too much. So he actually then started to do yin yoga and did that for 5 years until his lifestyle started to change. And that, he found, really balanced off his life in a very beautiful way. So that's, you know, looking at things through that lens of yin yang is often a good thing. So let's start with sun breaths. Sun being warming and physical, it's a yang. And we'll just inhale, bringing our hands up overhead. Big inhale, and exhaling, bringing our hands back down. As again, we discussed, inhale up. Inhaling and exhaling our yin yang. And then exhale back down. Inhale up. And exhale back down. Inhale up. And exhale down. One last time, inhale up. And exhale down. We'll do a few seated side stretches. So let's start with our right fingertips on the mat and bringing our left arm up along our left ear. And then we're going to tip toward the right and bending our elbow toward the mat. Stretch over to the right side. Trying to keep my breath even. And then back up. And we'll do that on the other side. Left fingertips on the mat. Right arm comes up along your right ear. And then we'll tip over to the left, bending our elbow down toward the mat. And keeping that nice even flow of breath going. And then come back up. And we'll do that one more time on each side. So right fingertips come down, left arm comes up, bending our right elbow toward the mat, tipping over to the right. Nice deep inhales and exhales. And then back up and bringing the left fingertips to the mat. Right arm goes up, bending the left elbow toward the mat, tipping our torso over to the left. And then come back up. We'll come into cobbler's pose. So bringing the soles of our feet together. And you can wrap your fingers, interlace them and wrap them around your toes or grab around your ankles. We're going to send our elbows out to the side and just tip forward, kind of pivot forward. You can keep a straight back, or if it's more comfortable, you can bend your back and drop your head down toward your feet. And then come back up again. And then we'll send our elbows toward our knees, pivoting forward. Again, you can round your back if that's more comfortable. And then come back up again. And keep our left foot where it is and send our right foot out diagonal. And we'll do a side seated revolving head to toe. So we're going to bring our right hand, the back of our right hand, to the inner part of our right knee. Then bring our left arm up alongside of our left ear. And then slide our right hand down toward the toes. And we're going to slide down sideways. Again, trying to keep that nice breath going. And then we're going to pivot our torso so that our head is facing our knee. Maybe our hands are reaching toward our feet. But the torso's pivoting and residing over our right thigh, and our head's looking at our right knee. And then we'll come back up to a seated position. Bring our feet back together again. And then we'll send our left foot out, keeping our right foot where it is. The left foot's out on the diagonal. The left hand, the back of it, rests against the inner part of your left knee. Right arm goes up alongside of your ear, and then we'll slide our left hand down toward our foot, tilting our body as we go, and making sure we're still breathing. Inhale and exhale. And then we're going to pivot our torso so that our torso is over our thigh and our head is looking at our knee, our eyes are looking at our knee. Hands are stretching down toward our feet. And then come back up to a seated position. We'll come up onto our hands and knees to tabletop. We'll spread our fingers wide, gripping the mat. Elbows are, the wrists are right below the shoulders. Elbows hopefully are all in line as well. Knees are right below our hips. Navel's tucked to our spine. And pushing gently down into our hands so that we create that space between our shoulders and our ears. Then we're going to turn our head to the right, shaking it no to the right, and then inhale. Shaking it over to the left, and back to center. Inhale to the right. Exhale back to center. Inhale to the left. Back to center, keeping that pressure in our hands. Inhale to the right. Back to center. And one last time, inhale to the left. Back to center. We'll do a few cat-cows. So we're going to round our back, dropping our head and tailbone down. So this is an example of yin-yang. We're contracting our body here. And then lifting our head and tailbone up and tailbone up. For cow, we're expanding, sending our gaze straight ahead. So exhale, rounding our back, dropping our head and tailbone down, contracting. And then inhale, coming back up, lifting our head and tailbone up, expanding. We'll do a few more of those, rounding our back for cat. Inhale up for cow. Really let that pose expand your body. Exhale, rounding, contracting for cat. Inhale up for cow. Rounding our back for cat. Inhale up for cow. And then coming back to a neutral back. We'll kickstand our left leg out the side of our mat, sending our right foot down to the bottom of the mat. Our left wrist should be right below our left shoulder. We're going to send our hands straight up to the sky, following it with our gaze. This is modified plank pose. And then we're going to lift up and bring our right hand down on our right leg, sending our left arm up alongside of our ear for gate pose. So then we'll bring our left hand back down, left wrist right below the shoulder again, sending our right hand straight up, modified side plank. And then lifting our hand, bringing our left hand up, right hand goes down to our right thigh, gate pose. And then we'll just flow back to the modified plank. And then flow back up to gate pose. And then back down for modified plank. And we'll bring our right hand back down to the mat. Coming back to tabletop, we'll do that on the other side. So back in tabletop, wrists below our shoulders, knees below our hips, and we'll kickstand our right foot out, sending our left foot down to the bottom of the mat. Just make sure our right wrist is right below our right shoulder. Sweeping our left hand up to the sky. We'll follow it up with our eyes. And then lifting up, bringing our left hand down to our left thigh, right arm up alongside of our right ear for gate pose. And then flowing back down to modified plank. Inhale, come back up to gate pose. And then exhale, back down to plank pose. One last time, lifting up to gate pose. And then exhale, back down to plank. Modified plank, bringing our left hand back down to the mat. You come back to tabletop. And we're going to bring our right foot between our hands and framing it like we're in a lunge. Well, we are in a lunge position where our knee is right above our ankle. We're going to slide our left knee back just a little bit. So we're in low lunge. Get comfortable there. And it's important to keep your knee over your ankle. So we're going to push down into our right foot and lift our hands up to the sky for low lunge. And then bring it back down. And then we're going to straighten our leg and we're going to ride our thigh, keeping our rib cage on our thigh. We're going to ride our leg down, straightening out our leg, flexing our foot up to the sky, And then bringing our foot back down to the mat, coming back into that low lunge position, knees right over our ankle, and then sweeping our hands up again. And then back down. And then riding our knee, our thigh, straightening out our leg, flexing our toes up to the sky. It's a half monkey. And then coming back down. So yin yang down, coming into lunge and then lifting our hands up, down and up, yin and yang. And then bringing our hands back down. One last time, riding our leg down toward the mat, lifting our toes up, flexing our toes up toward the sky, and then bringing our foot back down to the mat, coming back to that low lunge position where the knees right over our ankle, pushing down our foot, lifting our hands up, and then back down again. And then we'll bring our foot back, coming back to tabletop. And then we'll do that on the other side. So bringing our left foot between our hands, we're going to slide our right knee back just a little bit, get comfortable in that low lunge position. Important part, knee is over the ankle. We'll push down into our left foot. Really feel that connection, lifting our hands up to the sky and then back down again. We ride our left leg down, straightening the leg, then flexing the toes up toward the sky. And then back down again. Coming back to low lunge, pushing down our foot, lifting our hands up to the sky. Up and then down, come our hands, riding our leg back, straightening it as we go, flexing our toes up, and then bringing our foot back down to the mat, coming back to low lunge, knees right over our ankle, pushing down our foot, lifting our hands up, and then back down again. And one last time, riding our leg back down, flexing our toes up to the sky, and then coming back to that low lunge position, knees right over our ankle, pushing down our foot, lifting our hands up to the sky, and then bringing them back down. Bring our foot back. So we're back into a tabletop position. And then we'll lower our hips to our ankles, stretching our hands forward, coming into child's pose. Extended child pose with our hands out. Nice stretch. And then come back up to tabletop. Tuck our toes under, walking our hands back. We'll come up onto the balls of our feet into a squat, and then pushing down, coming up to mountain pose. And we'll start off by having our toes face the straight edge of the mat, lifting our toes up off the mat, spreading them as far apart as we can, then bringing them back down to the mat, lifting our heels up off the mat, and then coming back down. Just really feeling that connection to the earth, that stability, that strength, the grounding that mountain pose provides for us. And then with mountain, we also have the essentials of good posture. Our legs are nice and straight, strong, soft, gentle bend in our knees, navel's tucked to our spine, elongating the spine and the back of our neck. Nice and relaxed. Shoulders are relaxed and rolled back. Chin is ever so slightly tucked to the back And the crown of our head is reaching up to the sky. And we'll take a nice deep inhale, lifting our arms up overhead. And then exhale, bringing our hands down to the mat, bending our knees as we go to support our lower back. Just take in a few deep breaths here. And then bring our hands to our shins, flattening out our back for half forward fold. Gaze is straight down, creating that nice long spine, back of our neck. And then dropping the crown of our head down toward the mat. We'll just let gravity take over for a moment. And sweeping our hands from the mat all the way up overhead. As we lift up overhead, we're going to come up onto our tippy toes. Hands come together, and then slowly we'll drop our hands down. As we slowly lower our hands, we're going to slowly lower our heels back down to the mat. Nice, gentle flow with control. Sweeping our hands up on the inhale and slowly rising up onto our tippy toes. And then slowly lowering our hands, lowering our heels back down to the mat. And then one last time, sweeping our hands up. Come up onto your tippy toes. And then slowly lowering your hands on the exhale. Lowering your heels back down to the mat. And we'll keep lowering our hands down all the way to the mat, bending our knees as we go. And then inhale, lifting our hands to our shins. Nice flat back. Half forward fold, gaze is straight down. And dropping the crown of our head down toward the mat. And inhale, sweeping our hands all the way up overhead. We're going to bring our palms together and interlace our fingers with our index fingers pointing up to the sky. So all fingers are interlaced except for the index finger, which is pointing up to the sky. And then we're going to bump our hip out to the right and tip over toward the left. Keeping our arms close beside our ears. Come back up again. Exhale over to the right, bumping out our left hip. And then back up again. One more time each side, bumping out our right hip to the right, bending over to the left. Inhale, come back up, and exhale to the right. And inhale, come back up. And then release your hands. We'll bring our hands back down to the mat, bending our knees as we go. Inhale, half forward fold. Flat back, gaze straight down. We feel the stretch there. And then dropping the crown of our head down toward the mat on the exhale. And then inhale, sweeping our hands all the way up overhead. And we're going back down again, actually. So exhaling, bringing our hands back down, because the next pose is down here. Bring our hands to the mat, bending our knees as we go. We're going to come into a squat, so come up onto the balls of your toes. And then we're going to bring our heels back down to the mat, straightening our legs, again, keeping that gentle bend in the knee. So it's a forward fold, And then coming back into the squat, coming up onto the balls of your feet. Keeping your hands pretty much in the same spots. And then dropping your heels back down to the mat as you straighten your legs up, coming into forward fold. And then one more time for the squat, coming down, bending your knees, coming up onto the balls of your feet. And then dropping your heels back down to the mat. Straighten your legs, forward fold, and then sweeping your hands all the way up overhead. Palms come together. Palms come to heart center. Palms come to the back of our hips. So our feet are about hip width apart. Palms are on the back of the hips. Shoulders are relaxed. We just tuck our chin to our chest so our head doesn't roll back. And then just gently send our shoulders back for supported back bend. Keeping that nice even flow of your inhales and your exhales. And then come back up. Well done, everyone. And so in honor of the Lunar New Year, there is a salutation called the Moon Salutation. There's a sun salutation, which we do a lot in our standard yoga practice, and then there's also an earth salutation, which we'll do in April on Earth Day. But the Moon Salutation, it's very symmetrical. And so you're up and you're down, yin yang, up, down, your left, right, yin yang. You're stretching, you're contracting. So there's a lot going on to it, but it's I'm used to doing my practice in kind of a linear fashion. So this is where you start one side, go to the next side, and then we reverse that. So it actually creates a circle. So it messes with my head a little bit. So I hope I get through it without goofing it up too much. And there's going to be, I'll put some modifications in, and you can choose whether you'd like to do the standard poses or the modifications, up to you. So we'll start with our hands in a full moon position, kind of rounded. And then we'll send them up overhead. Arms are alongside our ears. And we're going to keep our hands in a Anjali mudra pose, palms together. And we're just going to tip over to the right. To the left, sorry, to the left already. Got my yin yang goofed up. And then we'll come back to straight, and then we're gonna extend our right leg over to the side and come into star pose. And from star pose, we'll go down to goddess pose. And then come back up. And then lowering our arms. This is a modification. We're gonna pivot and come into, the modification would be coming into warrior two. You could do that. Or if you want to do the other pose, it's triangle pose. So send our left hand forward and then send it down to the mat, down to our foot, or down as far down your leg as is good. Sending the right hand up to the sky. And then the next pose is pyramid pose, or the modification I would suggest is to come down to the low lunge that we did and do that half monkey. So this is modification, and we'll meet down there anyway. So, so if you're in triangle pose, what you'll do to get to pyramid pose is bring your right hand down, framing your front foot, and bringing your knee, your head toward your knee for pyramid pose. And then we're going to bring our right knee rather, down to the mat. And those who did the modification are already there. And then we're going to lift our hands up in the low lunge. And then come back down again. Tuck our toe under, coming back to runner's lunge. We're going to pivot our left foot, pointing our toes toward the front of the mat, coming into a one-legged squat. So our left knee, our left leg is in the squat, our right leg is extended out, toes pointing up to the sky. And then we're going to walk our hands to the center of the mat. Bring our heels closer and coming into the wide-legged squat we're all familiar with. And then we'll bring our hands down, keeping our right knee bent in the squat position. We're going to extend our left leg out, extending our left toes up to the sky. And then we're going to pivot around, coming into runner's lunge, and then bringing our left knee to the mat, coming into low lunge. We'll sweep our hands up overhead, and then bringing our hands down. This is where the two modifications come in again. So the modification, you can do the half monkey here, or you can come up and do the pyramid pose. So the other modification we're going to do next is going from the half monkey to warrior two. Or if you're in pyramid pose, we'll put your hand down, extend your left hand up in triangle pose. And then we'll lift ourselves up, coming into star with our arms straight out alongside our shoulders. And then up to star, and then bending our knees to goddess. Back up again. We'll bring our left foot to join it to our right foot. Hands come together. And we'll tip our torso over to the right. And then back up again. Bringing our hands back down and forming a circle. So that's half of the moon salutation. You can think of it as being, full to waning to a new moon position, which is the squat that we did, the squat in the middle, and then waxing back up to the full moon, which is where we are again. All right, so let's do this in the other direction. So start with the full moon, lifting our arms up overhead, palms come together, tipping over toward the right, coming back up straight again, sending our left foot out into a wide-legged stance, keeping our arms in a upright star position. We'll go into goddess, and then come back up, dropping our arms down. We're going to go either into warrior two or into triangle pose. So I'm going to go right to triangle pose. You choose which one you like. And from triangle pose, you can, or warrior two, from warrior two, you go into half monkey by coming down to low lunge, or from triangle pose, go to pyramid pose. So that's bringing your head toward your knee. You want to adjust your back foot to get more comfortable. And then from pyramid pose, we're going to come into runner's lunge and then bringing our left knee down to the mat. So coming into low lunge. Those who did the half monkey will already be in this position. And then pushing down, lifting up. Low lunge, lifting our arms up, and then coming back down. And then we're coming back to runner's lunge, and we're going to pivot. So our right toes are pointing toward the long edge of the mat. Bringing our hands maybe to frame our right knee, which is in a squat position. Left leg is extended. Toes are pointing up to the sky. And then we'll walk our hands to the middle of the mat. Bring our heels closer together. Come into the squat position. This is the new moon position. So we were high up earlier and now we're low. So yin yang. And then we're going to bring ourselves into a one-legged squat with our left knee extended and our right leg is extended out, toes pointing up. And then pivot, coming into runner's lunge, bringing our right knee down. Low lunge, our left knee is right above our left ankle. Sweeping our hands up to the sky, high and low, bringing it back down, yin and yang. And then we're going to come back to runner's lunge. And you can either do the half monkey or you can do the pyramid pose. And then we'll go to, from half monkey, you can go to warrior two, or from pyramid pose, go to triangle pose. It's kind of interesting too, doing triangle pose from the top down. And this way, this one we're doing it from the bottom up. And then reaching our hand up, coming back up into the wide-legged stance. Arms are out. And then we'll bring our arms up to the star position, bending our knees down to goddess, bringing them back up again, bringing our right foot to meet our left foot, palms come together, tilt our torso to the left, back up, and then bringing our hands back down and around into that full moon circle. So now we're back where we started. We'll do that one more time. I'm going to go through it a little bit more flowy. Choose which ones you'd like to do. So we'll start full moon, sweeping up, hands overhead, tilting to the left, come back straight up, bring your feet into a wide-legged stance, arms are up in star position, bending our knees and elbows, coming into goddess, back up again, arms come down. We're going to pivot our feet to the right, either warrior two or triangle pose. And then from triangle pose or warrior two, we go to pyramid pose or half monkey. And then we're gonna come down to a low lunge, sweeping our hands up to the sky, and then bringing them back down to the mat. Back to runner's lunge, pivot our left toes to the long edge of the mat, left knees in a squat position, right legs extended with our toes flexed to the sky. And then we'll walk our hands to the middle, bringing our heels together just a little bit more, into our wide-legged squat. That's the new moon position. And then bringing our hands back down to the mat, sending our right knee to, into the squat position, and our left leg is out, extended with the toes flexed up to the sky. And then we'll pivot to the right, come into runner's lunge, bring our left knee down into low lunge, sweeping our hands up to the sky, and then back down again. And then you can either do half monkey or pyramid pose, and do pyramid pose. And then from half monkey, you could go into warrior two, or from pyramid pose, go into triangle pose, from the bottom up. And then come up, bring your hands up, wide-legged stance with your arms straight out. And then bring your arms up to star position. And then bending your elbows and knees into goddess. Then back up again. And bringing our hands and our feet over to the left. And tilting our torso to the left. And coming back down. I think I did it right. That circular still really does throw me. Alrighty, so well done, everyone. Add that, and it's intended to be, the moon is a yin, or it's yin as opposed to the sun's, the yang, hot, cool. So this moon salutation doesn't feel very cooling, but it's supposed to be very cool, at least calming, not, rambunctious like a yang pose would be. So, well done, everyone. We're gonna bring our pinky toes to the edges of the mat. Hands come together. We've done this a couple times already. Lowering our hips to the mat, coming into our wide-legged stance, or squat rather. And then we'll come down to the mat. And gently roll down, your choice. Legs straight, legs bent, express method, whichever you prefer, you earned it. Come down, I'm gonna bring my knees to my chest and give them a nice hug. And then with my toes, I'm gonna create these big circles. Nice big full moon. Massaging the back, lower back. And then we go in the opposite direction. Nice big full moons. And then come back. And we'll extend our arms out from our shoulders. They're out nice and straight. And then we'll do our recline twist. So dropping our knees to the right on the exhale. And then slowly turning our head to the left, look at our left fingertips. And then slowly rolling our head back to center, lifting our legs back to center. And exhaling, dropping our knees to the left side. And once they've landed and you're comfortable, then slowly turn your head to the right. To look at your right fingertips. And then slowly turning your head back to center. And gently lifting your legs back to center. And send your feet down to the bottom of the mat, preparing for Shavasana. Heels come to each corner. Let your feet just flop open. Again, this is a yin yang where all your limbs and body was very active and tense. This is the opposite, the yin yang, that you just let everything release and relax. That creates balance. And today I have an excerpt from an email from the group in Montpelier, integrative acupuncture, and they sent out an email about the Lunar New Year, which I'll read a portion of it to you. The Chinese zodiac wheel spins again to start the Lunar New Year. This new cycle is the Green Wood Dragon Year of 2024, which is a very auspicious and transformative, even legendary, which is very auspicious and transformative, even legendary. The new cycle commences on February 4th, then February 10th, today, officially begins the ruckus. For dragons burst with flames and revolution fire. This year of the Green Wood Dragon is everything green and full of renewal. It is a yang year, meaning it is an exciting time that is ripe for action and new connections. Powerful dragon rages with its shiny, magical scales and strong muscles, loaded with blessed possibility, knowledge, and abundance. Indeed, dragon represents bravery, being bold, but activating the dream. So stay uber creative, open to opportunity, and let your heartful wishes drive your intention and action. Sounds a bit risky in these unstable times? No worries, be assured, for Dragon is confident with charm and a sense of adventure that promises evolution and growth. Part of Dragon's beauty and beastliness is that it possesses the 5 elements: wood, fire, earth, metal, or water. Being the 5th earthly branch, Green Wood Dragon demands that we burn through the negative and what's no longer needed by tapping into our own power and chi, which is our prana. And this then enables our spirit to burst with joy. Yes, get ready to release your special internal power and supercharge your awareness. Dragon reigns over your ability to change for the better. So prepare to be morphed. Be like the magic of Dragon, to create awe and wonder. Welcome all to the transformation.